As a multifamily broker, you can imagine I hear and see some of the craziest things when investors are looking to offer on deals. Now, out of the hundreds that exist, in this video, we're going to go over 10 to avoid so you can win more deals. Let's go! Now, before we get started, it's important to point out that these tips are related to multifamily deals done over 10 units and primarily over 25 units. The larger multifamily world operates in a totally different manner than those assets in the single-family realm, duplexes, triplexes, and eightplexes. Number one, when you're talking to a seller or the broker, don't start listing sales comps or deals you're looking at that you think support the theory of why that asset should be priced less. Even if you're right, human beings just get offended easily. And never have I ever heard of a seller receive that kind of information and then been like, gosh, you know what? That buyer's right. I need to lower my price down to what he says he thinks it should be. Number two, I would avoid asking for seller financing for two reasons. Firstly, it puts you at a huge disadvantage to the dozens and dozens of other buyers after that asset who aren't asking for seller financing. And secondly, it screams that you either A, don't have the money, or B, don't have the ability to get regular financing from a lender. Even if you're worth $20 million asking for seller financing, perception is reality. And in the event a seller prefers to offer seller financing for tax reasons or otherwise, that will always be announced in the marketing package by the broker or by the seller themselves if they're marketing it. So it's just better to err on the side of caution and not ask if the seller will finance. Number three, don't say you'll need to find a partner in order to get the deal done. Obviously, that doesn't give the sell side very much confidence in you. Number four, don't turn in a lower offer that is all cash if indeed you can turn in a higher offer if you obtain debt. Saying you'll pay cash for a quicker closing doesn't have the same meaning that it used to years and years ago, because all deals happen so quickly now, and everyone has tons of cash, and everyone has access to amazing debt. Sellers expect there to not be any issues with being able to close on a deal. So my advice is to come with your highest price possible and close as soon as possible. Number five, try to avoid asking to tour the property or make offers before you've even signed the confidentiality agreement and reviewed the financials. Sellers and brokers know you'll want to see the property eventually, but it takes a lot of time and effort to schedule with the sellers and the property managers, drive to the location, tour you through the property, only to later find out once you've actually looked at the marketing package and the financials, you're then not interested. You're going to look far more attractive to the seller and the broker if you've fully underwritten the asset from a financial perspective, you like the price, and then you go look at the property. And regarding making offers before you've even looked at the financials, yes, I've actually had that happen plenty of times, and I can tell you it's the fastest way to get removed from the list of any future listings. Number six, when making offers on deals, don't try to doom and gloom the seller and broker about how bad the market is, politics, moratoriums on rent, tax code changes, etc. All sellers and brokers are looking for two things. They want the right price and terms, and they want to know that a buyer is going to show up to closing. Giving doom and gloom doesn't give a seller confidence. And again, never in the history of the world have I ever heard a seller hear things like that from a buyer and then been like, yeah, I think he's right. I'm kind of scared about the future. Let me sell to him for his price. Never happened. Number seven, don't turn in an offer that has a decreasing price per day upon receipt by the seller because you want to pressure the seller into doing a deal with you immediately so you don't have to compete against other buyers. I understand the theory behind the method, but the vast majority of the time, it's going to backfire on you. Human beings are emotional creatures, and when you back them into the corner, they're going to retaliate by not wanting to deal with you at all, no matter how good your price or terms are. Number 8, don't put together your offer in the body of the email and just tell the broker that if the seller likes what they see, you'll put together a more formal signed letter of intent. Offering in that manner can put off a vibe that you aren't serious about your offer, maybe that you're lazy, that you don't have enough confidence in your offer to put it in an actual letter of intent. And it also kind of shows that you cut corners, and nobody wants to go to contract with those kind of attributes. Remember, multifamily investing is super competitive. It doesn't take a lot of effort to do everything right, but it's super easy to do the little things wrong, and that can get you thrown out of the competition. Number 9, if a listing broker brought you a deal directly, I would not introduce another broker to represent you and expect the listing broker or the seller to pay your broker. Don't get me wrong, it's totally cool to bring in a broker to represent you. You should just be the one to pay them. As a matter of fact, I welcome other brokers being involved, but if you want to remain competitive, you don't want to have to cost the seller or the broker additional capital. And number 10, if you're an investor that also holds a real estate license, I would not turn in an offer to buy the property that also includes the seller paying you a fee as your own broker. It just makes the seller feel like you're being kind of icky or a little petty, and that will put you at a disadvantage to likely all the other buyers who are not enacting that same fee agreement for themselves or the brokers they introduce to the deal. In the end, a lot of these tips just comes down to treating others the way you would want to be treated. If you liked the property enough to offer on the deal, there's no reason to spew negativity at the asset or the sellers. If a deal didn't work out, end it positively. Let the broker know that it's a great asset and it just didn't meet your return objectives, that you want to remain on their list for future listings because you're always going to reply very quickly and give it your all. The investment world is a very small world, and I promise you over a 20-year period, you'll run into the same players over and over again, and you never want to burn bridges. Thanks for taking a listen. If you have any other comments, please leave them below. Give me a like, and of course, a subscribe. See you on the next one.